On Donald Trump's day off from his criminal trial in Manhattan, where in less than 24 hours he will go back to attending a hearing on contempt for further violations of the gag order, Donald Trump is spending his day off in Wisconsin and then later in Michigan. And in Wisconsin, at a speech that he gave, Donald Trump is violating another gag order, one that is in place in the Washington, D.C. criminal case, preventing Donald Trump from making statements that could threaten, intimidate, or harass trial participants and witnesses. Donald Trump, in his speech that he just gave in Wisconsin moments ago, said this about a key witness in the Washington, D.C. criminal case against Trump for trying to overthrow the results of the 2020 election. That key witness is Cassidy Hutchinson. Here's what Donald Trump said in violation of the Washington, D.C. federal court gag order. Let's play the clip.
Instead, David, I want to go down there. These people are crazy. And then I think she changed her testimony. You heard that because the people testified that none of this stuff happened. But a friend of mine said, you shouldn't fight that because I gained such respect. I didn't know that you were that strong and that tough, that you would take on a black belt in karate or whatever the hell he was. A very tough guy, I can tell you that. There were muscles all over the place, on his ears, on his neck. If I grabbed him around the neck, I'm not even sure he'd feel it. He might not feel it. No, these people are crazy.
And what Donald Trump is referencing right there is Cassidy Hutchinson's testimony before the January 6th committee. Cassidy Hutchinson was Mark Meadows' top aide. She testified before the January 6th committee, and she will be testifying in the Washington, D.C. federal criminal case against Donald Trump, as will Mark Meadows. When Cassidy Hutchinson testified before the January 6th committee, here is what she said. Play the clip.
Once the president had gotten into the vehicle with Bobby, he thought that they were going up to the Capitol. And when Bobby had relayed to him, we're not, you don't have the assets to do it. It's not secure. We're going back to the West Wing. The president had very strong, a very angry response to that. Tony described him as being irate. The president said something to the effect of, I'm the effing president, take me up to the Capitol now. To which Bobby responded, sir, we have to go back to the West Wing. The president reached up towards the front of the vehicle to grab at the steering wheel. Mr. Engel grabbed his arm, said, sir, you need to take your hand off the steering wheel. We're going back to the West Wing. We're not going to the Capitol. Mr. Trump then used his free hand to lunge towards Bobby Engel. And when Mr. Renato had recounted this story to me, he had motioned towards his clavicles.
And here is another clip of what Cassidy Hutchinson said before the January 6th committee, and it is anticipated that her testimony would be the similar in the Washington, D.C. federal criminal case against Donald Trump, for which there is a gag order specifically prohibiting Donald Trump from making precisely the statement that you heard him make in Wisconsin against witnesses like Cassidy Hutchinson. Play this other clip of Cassidy Hutchinson's testimony before the January 6th committee. Play this clip.
Something to the effect of, take the effing mags away. They're not here to hurt me. Let them in. Let my people in. They can march to the Capitol after the rally's over. They can march from the ellipse. Take the effing mags away. Then they can march to the Capitol.
Of course, Donald Trump's statements against Cassidy Hutchinson are lies, they're defamatory, and it's also intimidating and harassing conduct directed at a witness. Let's just take a look at what the gag order in the Washington, D.C. criminal case states so you can validate what I'm saying and why I believe it is a violation of the gag order. You'll recall that back on December 8th of 2023, the D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals affirmed largely the gag order that was in place by the Washington, D.C. federal judge Chutkan. That case, of course, has been stayed. It's been paused while Donald Trump's made his arguments of absolute presidential immunity to the United States Supreme Court. They've not yet reached a decision, although we've covered the oral arguments here on the MeidasTouch Network. Let's take a look at what the D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals ruled on December 8th, 2023. They said specifically the gag order, the order is referring to the gag order, is affirmed to the extent it prohibits all parties and their counsel from making or directing others to make public statements about known or reasonably foreseeable witnesses concerning their potential participation in the investigation or in the criminal proceeding. The order also is affirmed to the extent it prohibits all parties and their counsel from making or directing others to make public statements about counsel in the case other than the special counsel, members of the court staff and counsel staff, or 3, the family members of any counsel or staff members. The fact that you even need an order like that is really just a sad state of the Republican Party that this even has to exist. But Donald Trump clearly made a statement right there that was directed at the participation of witnesses concerning their potential participation in the investigation in the criminal proceeding. That would seem to be an obvious violation. I'll read more from that order in just a moment, but I want to share this with you as well, because Donald Trump's moves that he makes, the lies that he tells, he's very simple in what he does. He follows the same playbook, tell the same big lie, attack witnesses, attack truth tellers.
Like many of us, you might think identity theft will never happen to you. But consider this. There's a new identity theft victim every 3 seconds in the US. That's over 15 million people by the end of this year. That's equal to the populations of New York, Los Angeles, and Chicago combined. Even worse, identity theft victims often don't even know they're victims. That's why LifeLock Identity Theft Protection alerts you to identity threats, even the ones that don't show up on your credit report, like data breaches, fraudulent bank transactions, loan and credit card applications, and crimes committed in your name. If your identity is stolen, your own dedicated LifeLock US-based restoration specialist will work to fix it. Look, I've recently signed up to LifeLock, and I can't even begin to explain how much better I feel knowing that there's a dedicated specialist looking out for me. We live in a crazy world, and protecting your identity needs to be at the top of your to-do list. LifeLock protects you in ways that you simply can't on your own. Save up to 25% your first year at lifelock.com/Meidas. That's lifelock.com/Meidas to save up to 25%. Identity theft protection starts here.
Now, you will recall, as Donald Trump is taking his day off from the Manhattan District Attorney criminal case, the evidence that came in yesterday on Tuesday in that case, where a C-SPAN archivist had to come in because Donald Trump wouldn't authenticate this on his own. Where back in 2016, when Donald Trump was giving a speech, just like he's doing in 2024, now he's giving the speech May 1st, 2024. The video I'm about to show you was in June of 2016, where Donald Trump was saying regarding all of these women who were coming forward with stories about him, he doesn't know him, none of them are true, this would never happen. He calls them, that he calls them names, the same way he's saying that about Cassidy Hutchinson. Take a listen to what Trump was saying in 2016, because it's just the same playbook in 2024, and he is a liar. Here, play this clip.
As you have seen, right now I am being viciously attacked with lies and smears. It's a phony deal. I have no idea who these women are. I have no idea. I have no idea. And I think you all know I have no idea because you understand me for a lot of years. Okay? When you looked at that horrible woman last night, you said, I don't think so. I don't think so. Whoever she is, wherever she comes from, the stories are total fiction. They're 100% made up. They never happened. They never would happen. I don't think that happened with very many people, but they certainly aren't going to happen with me.
Let's take a look at what the DC Circuit Court of Appeals also said in its order. Go to page 36 of its order, affirming largely in part the gag order, which Donald Trump violated. Here's what it says. This is what the DC Circuit Court of Appeals said. It says, Mr. Trump's documented pattern of speech and its demonstrated real-time, real-world consequences pose a significant and imminent threat to the functioning of the criminal trial process, in this case in two respects. First, Mr. Trump's messages about known or reasonably foreseeable witnesses that concern their potential participation in the criminal proceeding pose a significant and imminent threat to individuals' willingness to participate fully and candidly in the process, to the content of their testimony and evidence, and to the trial's essential truth-finding function. The law has long recognized the importance of shielding witnesses from the external influences that undermine the integrity of the trial process. It goes on to say, courts also have the authority to exclude witnesses from the courtroom, instruct them not to discuss their testimony with others, and even sequester them pending their testimony, all to protect them and the evidence they offer from external influences. It goes on to say the concern with defendants' influences on witness is so significant that Congress has expressly authorized courts to prevent defendants from communicating with a witness. That restraint is so commonplace that Mr. Trump does not dispute the court's authority to have ordered him as a condition of pretrial release not to communicate with witnesses except in the presence of counsel. There is no question that Mr. Trump could not have said directly to Mark Meadows, former Vice President Pence, or former Georgia Lieutenant Governor Duncan any of the statements he posted on social media about their potential discussions with the special counsel or grand jury testimony and the consequences that would follow. Yet the district court's prohibition on Trump's direct communication with known witnesses would mean little if he can evade it by making statements to a crowd, knowing or expecting that the witness will get the message. Mr. Trump's counsel conceded at oral argument that the former president speaking about the case with a megaphone, knowing that a witness is in the audience, would likely present the same scenario as Mr. Trump calling that witness directly in violation of the conditions of his release. So it's right there, folks, and I think special counsel Jack Smith is going to call this out. Now that Trump's already been found in contempt in New York, I think special counsel Jack Smith should demand that Donald Trump be incarcerated. By the way, in Donald Trump's speech, after threatening and harassing and intimidating witnesses like Cassidy Hutchinson, Donald Trump apparently also doesn't know how to say the word vegan. Play this clip.
We're honored to be joined today by Shanna Gray, who owns a vegan restaurant, supposed to be really good. I'm not into the vegan stuff, I must say, but I'm going to have to try this.
Donald Trump also bragged about overturning Roe v. Wade. Play the clip.
A couple of states I won't mention, but a couple of states really surprised people. But basically, the states decide on abortion. And people are absolutely thrilled with the way that's going on.
And then Donald Trump attacked President Biden's job numbers, saying that because President Biden got all of these jobs, that's fake, apparently. Play this clip.
The Biden job numbers are fake. He's counting people coming back from work.
So that's what's going on in Wisconsin. We'll give you a more full update in just a little bit, but I wanted to give you that clear violation of the Washington, D.C. gag order. Tell me what you think in the comments.
Love this video? Make sure you stay up to date on the latest breaking news and all things Midas by signing up to the MeidasTouch newsletter at MeidasTouch.com/newsletter.